Thank you very much. Welcome everybody back to day 2, Off and Racing. And what a topic to get started, CRM. Everyone heard of that? Everyone knows what CRM's all about? That's good. It's kind of the hot topic at the moment on everybody's lips. So let's jump into the panel. So AI-Driven CRM promise smarter, faster, and more personalised customer engagement. But the reality is that many of the teams are, still happy and comfortable in manual mode. So in today's panel, we're going to explore whether field teams are truly ready to make the shift, what legacy habits may be holding us back, and how the boldest players might leap ahead by embracing the technology today. So before we begin, what we're going to do is get some engagement in the room. It's so good to see everybody here so early, by the way. Congratulations. Lottie, last at the bar, first to breakfast. You never cease to amaze me. But we're going to take the temperature of the room on CRM, deep in your heart. How do you feel about CRM? Is it a friend or is it a foe? It's kind of like Vegemite or Marmite to most people. Nobody knows. People are still there should be an undecided there, but Whoa. Be honest. Be really honest.
Looks like we have a lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good for you.
We'll see. I have some other stats later on.
Okay, so we'll cut it off there. We've got 50 in the room. That's enough to take a pretty good gauge. It's a 3/4, 1/4 split. So there we go. That's a great way to start off. Let's start the session, Estelle, by setting the scene. What's we could talk until midnight about this particular topic, so you've got a challenge ahead to pack it into a few minutes. But what is the state of play in CRM today, and why is it such a significant topic of late?
Sure. So overall, I think it's really an industry shift for us, especially in terms of, we've been talking in the last days around the importance of having the right data, having the right customer's experience, and so on. But actually what's coming now between the split between Salesforce and Veeva is really bringing a new opportunity for many of us. And like I think it was already explained a little bit in the last day, yesterday mostly. But overall, you need to imagine that more than 1,000 customers from Veeva have to shift, and also even the OCE customers are also starting their thinking towards shifting towards another CRM. So it's really an entire industry that will have to find the right customer engagement forward and define what the right ecosystem, what the right architecture will be. So it's really bringing not only the opportunities from rethinking how we can look into personalization, but also what Gen AI can bring to us, and how we want to shape all of that. It's not just a CRM migration, it's probably much more than that for most of us.
It's a Herculean task, by the sounds of things, from go to woe. Michael, would you care to add your thoughts to the state of play and why we're so topical right now?
Yeah, for me, I think CRM, when we think of CRM, we have to think of our customers. So customers change drastically. I mean, I see this in my team. We have, by the end of this decade, 30% of Gen Z in our team, and 30% of Gen Z are our customers. So whatever we do with CRM to engage, to capture engagement, needs to meet the needs of those customers. And if you read some surveys, and I like to call that mind the gap, because in the past we pushed data. Our Gen Z wants to pull data, and whatever systems we design, whatever systems we look for, like Estelle said, adding AI to the system needs to meet the needs of the customer of the future. This is also why I think legacy, there's no legacy, because we will all change within that industry and our customers.
Like I said, this is a topic that we're doing our best to condense a lot of meat into a short amount of time. But what we might move on to is a little bit and talk about we've seen the hardware change, Demen, but has the experience really evolved, or is it evolving?
I do believe it is evolving. So with the introduction of ChatGPT, software vendors now have the chance to really bring consumer experiences into enterprise software. And that is something we have been trying for years. And I believe it is as significant as the introduction of mobile devices in our industry, for example, or the digitalization of sampling, for example. So I think it has changed, and it will be continue to changing.
You make a very bold statement. The introduction of mobile devices and things like that certainly has changed the world. But you foresee that the changes in the CRM will completely change how the industry manages.
We strongly believe that. We'll be looking at some of the interviews we've been conducted later on, as we did in our preparation. And they'll all be showing what users like and do not like, and they want change.
The people have spoken. So let's talk about the people and the customer itself, if they have changed. Are we still building CRMs for yesterday's HCPs? And Michael, I know on the pre-call you had a lot of thoughts about the customer and who they are, who they're going to be, and where we need to be.
Yeah, I think the CRM of the future really needs to be a tool, and we discussed this briefly, I guess, which orchestrates around the customer, which allows the customer to get the information 24/7, tailored to the patient. I like to call it double personalization rather than just making it available at the time the customer wanted. You also need to make it specific to the patient the customer has in front of them. And that will be the challenge I think we can jointly solve with AI technology in the system, because it's probably not feasible without using some machine learning, some machine technology, because of the wealth of information, but also, of course, few of us do work 24/7. So I think that's both a strong point for adding novel technology to systems to adapt them to the customer needs.
But I think that if you look back at the audience right now, they've been very, very nice saying that, CRM is the friend. But if you are really honest and you go out to the field force right now, most of them, they're going to say this is, a burden for them. This is a boring system that they just do that because we need to go in and track the activities. They're focused on MCCP, they're focused on their bonuses, but they really don't see, the real value of it, right? So I think right now, we actually, as a pharma company, we do have the opportunity to actually go back to, you sit here, you Salesforce, we can go to Viva or whoever and say, it's great, you're selling me this product, you're selling me these agents, you're selling me these bots, and you're selling me, Gen AI and so forth, but what does it mean for my strategy? And I think from a pharma company, we should go back to our business, finding out what is it that works today, what is it that we see the gaps, and then, I would be much more, in a place when I go out to the vendors and saying, it's not just about selling me a tech stack, this is also about, what problems can you actually solve for me? What is that you're going to do for, for a rep from an MSL point of view to actually focus on nurturing the relationship? They should not bother about CRM system and having the right data and so forth. They should actually, build the collaboration with the HCP, talk about the patients, and this is what the CRM should do. So I think we have so many opportunities right now. AI here is to stay, but we need to step up the game. We also are experiencing.
Here we go. Please give it up. Fantastic.
I think you're spot on. I think it's CRM. CRM is a tool, huh? It's, and we have to ask it questions.
Yes.
And we don't have a CRM strategy. We have an engagement strategy to which CRM should be fit for.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time, isn't it? So it traditionally has been seen as a bit of a burden by field teams, and we were probably, many of us in the room, getting to the last Friday night of the month and quickly updating it and pumping it all in with not the greatest of enthusiasm.
But I think some of those use cases for Gen AI will also not just make them a burden anymore, but may also enable them to be more productive in their day-to-day work. Like, I think most of us have started to use all the Teams Copilot type of suite, transcriptions of calls,
Yep.
That has also brought a lot of efficiency into our work.
Absolutely.
And so I think the opportunity or the hope is that by having the vendors really trying to focus a lot on innovation and bring more AI, Gen AI into their new solution, we will also be able to provide something that actually make their work more effective. So they don't just see the CRM as being a constraint of, that's just where I need to put my calls so that, HQ can look into our KPIs, but also really to give them insights back and help them to manage their day in a more effective way.
Yeah, and I think it's more than just hope. It's really an expectation. Future field representatives will be used to working with AI tools and expect a certain level of empowerment from the CRM rather than that. So that brings us nicely into the next part of the conversation, really unpacking AI's role and where it plays in the future of CRM. So, Demen, you're probably best placed to answer this one, but what does an AI native CRM actually look like?
Yeah. So we do believe that it needs to embed different types and different capabilities of AI. So there's predictive AI, there's generative AI, there's agentic AI, and I'm happy to talk about these terms in more detail later on. But it needs to embed them into the flow of work. So users don't want to leave the system. They want to have these type of information at their fingertips, and they want to have that consumer experience that they're used to from their daily use of technology within CRM as well. And this is, I believe, what is very important. And the good news is with the right technology, there are possibilities now to achieve all of these different capabilities.
It's, again, we want to come back to the customer a little bit and how they feel about the whole thing. So whilst all these promises sound fantastic, and I legitimately believe it can change the industry from the ground up, but what gets the reps? What are the reps saying, or the field, the MSLs and the field force? What's getting them excited, and what's... Sorry, I'm just bringing the slide up to support you. And what turns them off? What gets them...
Yeah, let's talk about that. Over the course of the past 1.5 years, we've interviewed about 400 users in different roles in medical as well as commercial. And there's one thing that they all have in common when it comes to CRM. Anyone wants to take a guess here? How they feel about it? They literally hate it. They hate CRM as it stands today, and they want change. And the reason for that is everything I've mentioned before. They are used to their daily use of technology. They want these experiences. They want to have contextualized insights in their flow of work, meaning they want to have better decision-making capabilities. And we have to also ask the why here, which is very important. And the why is two things. Today, they consider CRM as an administrative burden, and they want to have more qualitative engagement with their HCPs or their patients. And we do believe that AI can be an enabler to achieve that. And I think this is what is very important for the industry.
You've all got experience with field teams in one way or another. Is that the sentiment? Do you echo those thoughts?
I think, unfortunately, we started, NBA many years ago, right? And it was not really AI. We sold it to the field force that it was AI, but it was really just, rules that we were trying to predict and everything. And we came out, where we said this was an enablement. We were helping them, to get the right touch points out to the HCPs and everything. But what it really was, it was just a reminder. It was just, irritating the reps because they were saying, this is just a machine coming in telling me what to do. And it's all, again, about quality of data, right? Because we look at AI, we can just plug it in and then it works. No, it doesn't, right? You need to have, governance around data. You need to have taxonomy and everything. So it's not that easy. Yeah. But with that being said, I think we also talked about it, yesterday. Finding, these low-hanging fruits, finding out, what is it that, from a rep perspective, actually ask them, what is that you would like to solve, and then try to enable that, right? But do it with the small pilots, do it in small teams. Some cultures are more into it than others, and I would say this is the way to go forward.
We do the same, I think, with MSLs. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's where they really save time. So that's the systems we offer up first, and we co-create that with the countries to make sure it's really accepted. And I think that we found also very, very helpful on the MSL side to introduce these systems and AI capability in these systems.
I think at UCB we also see a big difference between the adoption between the more medical, so the MSLs versus the field teams. Because I think the MSLs are they're even less willing, in a sense, to put all of their insights and medical information within the CRM. Whereas the commercial, they have their goals to achieve.
Yeah.
So even if they don't want to, they will still do it because they want to have their goals met.
Even perhaps if they haven't met the goals.
That's why it's so important to get the incentive right. So what we do is we build in systems which save them time rather than as you say, administrative time at the end, and we build it stepwise.
And I think one of the things that worked pretty well for us was that cross-functional, and I think some of the sessions were discussing about that yesterday, but the cross-functional aspect between medical, commercial, maybe even also market access and marketing, and like this opportunity to use also the CRM to have that cross-functional collaboration being happening and orchestrated a bit better.
For us, almost more important also to add R&D, and that's
R&D,
also the big hook for us.
Which is part of the strategy of both Salesforce and Veeva, right? It's like they're all trying to bring closer together the clinical, the medical, the patient even together into one platform. So really curious to what that's going to bring for us in the future in terms of opportunity.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
I do believe data orchestration is a key success factor, and Michael, you just mentioned incentives. So what we are also seeing, we are seeing an increase in incentives between different domains, meaning we do see commercial users sometimes being incentivized for successful patient enrollment. And I believe having these incentives combined with the right data and breaking up these silos, right, and enabling them to see all of these insights, I think this is going to help them adopt to it faster. Yes.
Well, it's great to hear about what we want and what's going to make life easier and how it's going to bring everything together. But what about the barriers and the resistance that we're facing internally? What are the real blockers here? Is it a mix of culture, is it compliance, or is it the actual capabilities themselves? It's a pretty broad question, but there's a reason. There's always something in pharma that provides a hurdle or a speed hump. What are they?
Of course, we have compliance, right? We are a pharma company and so forth, right? And in the pharma industry, it's not that easy just to go, and even though if you see something, it takes a while. We need to go through, legal, we need to go through procurement, we need to go all these things, right? So this is, first of all, something that we need to take into place. Then you have GDPR, you have data privacy. There's a lot of things that we need to go through. And then if you look into the field forces, right? And even as a consumer, it's a little bit frightening sometimes when you say hi. It's also a little bit threatening as well, right? Because is it a competition right now to a rep, or is it something that they see as should I say, their tool, their assistant, right? And that there is right now reps that actually go out and say, am I going to lose my job now? Is this a new thing, something that's going to take over? Does that mean that this agent is going to contact my doctor now and set up appointments and talk about this and that? And I think we have so much to do when it comes to change management. We really need to find out again, what is the issues that they do have, and look at it as more as a friend. And there we have a lot to do, because they don't see it, should I say, as the friend right now.
For sure can relate on that.
I think I remember you saying something yesterday just about the compliance element.
Compliance aspect,
how on earth is
and
this?
we were discussing yesterday about the fact that many of the pharma companies, they are even struggling to get just simple free text in the CRM. And then we are seeing companies like Salesforce coming with, transcriptions of calls and everything being more, with like a bot for the doctors to ask the questions about our products. And then when we are seeing that, I think I'm very curious to see what's the reaction of our pharmacovigilance, the patient safety, compliance, data privacy will think about all these innovations, because I think for us it's going to be a big negotiations for sure to get some of those things approved to be used.
I'll refer to you, Demen, now, whereas vendors, you're always coming against people in MLR and pharmacovigilance looking for any sort of opportunity to be involved in the process. Are you ready for what you're going to encounter with these new iterations?
I think we definitely are, but of course it's also part of our job to help you getting ready, right, and help you understanding what are some of these blockers. Is it your compliance department? So what can we do about it? Can we involve them earlier on, helping them understanding what value it generates, and how we can mitigate some of their concerns if there are any. Is it your users who are concerned about having their jobs replaced? So really understanding that is part of our job. There is some responsibility that comes from vendors like us. But I also want to have a look back on the slide that is up here still, without going through all of these bullet points. But users, again, they do want to see change. And coming back to the open text piece, I've talked a lot to commercial users, and they don't like that they only have pick lists to choose from. They want to capture more insights. They want to help their teams better understanding what qualitative discussions they had. And it's actually us limiting them because of certain concerns of adverse event reporting or pharmacovigilance. So I believe their AI can also be an enabler, monitoring and helping detecting potential AI pharmacovigilance topics that then can be trained for.
And I think they will probably take those notes somewhere else, if not in the CRM anyhow. So we may as well try to find a way to make it compliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
That's a very good point.
You've, in the language being used in over the last two questions, I just wanted to hone in on a little bit. Helene, you used the word, field force, it could be potentially frightening. You've just mentioned the word concern a few times, but how deep does this really run in the industry? Do MSLs and field force as a whole trust the idea of AI-led CRM systems or AI in general? And should they?
But again, it comes also down to capabilities, to training, for them to understand how can I actually use AI. And if you go back to the thing about saying that they think CRM is boring, it's time consuming, and so forth, why not use AI for this perspective, right? Help them out when it comes to planning, call planning. Help them out when they're going to fill out the call reports. Help them out, finding the right KOLs, getting the data from external, should I say, getting it to combine with the internal. All these admin tasks, this is something they can use AI today to actually, use the time out there when they're talking to the HCPs. So I think this is something that we can, easily, give out to the field force today. So to at least for the burden of the admin jobs they do have today, that they think it's boring and so forth. So let the human be a human, and let's, get the AI to be the tool it should be, right? It's not a competition here. This is our new toolbox that we can put up there and make our life easier.
No, I completely agree. So we use it to really take out the administrative burden, have voice entry, and things like this, I think, will really change the uptake, because most of us don't type fast. Systems which are good at voice recognition and translating this, they will make the little difference I think people need. And then we show them, we test it with them, we test the accuracy with them, the accuracy of the system, and let them confirm that themselves. And I think that really, really helps on the MSL side.
I think that confirmation opportunity to use GenAI to accelerate their work, to summarize information, medical others, or help them formulate already emails or whatsoever to be faster in their way to work will probably be easier. But indeed, that confirmation where they are still in control of the relationship with the doctor will remain key into their trust into the future.
I do wonder about the leaner organisations who are very resource tight, whether they'll lean into more automated, the future of automation and how that will play against MSLs in the larger organisations, or if that's...
You mean totally digital reps? Or?
Possibly.
I think it was. I know for sure that Salesforce was looking into it, to have the opportunity, to give the opportunity to pharma to have full digital reps or agentic reps.
Yes.
As an opportunity, at least. UCB, I'm not sure that's the direction we'll. I think we are still far from there. But yeah, it's interesting to see what the industry will bring in the coming years.
Indeed.
Yeah, we have these kind of discussions. Some of our customers who are planning to go into that direction are here, so it is reality now, and we have to think about it.
Right, well, we planned for a 20-minute discussion. It sprung upon us that we actually had 25 minutes, and we've still got a lot more to talk about. But what we would have loved to take questions, but consider this the start of the conversation. If you'd like to keep it going, catch up with the guys at lunchtime, connect on LinkedIn, because there's lots to talk about. But what we want to do is just finish the session on a quick fire prompt in terms of your answer to a question. And that question is, what's one mindset or move the industry needs to embrace if AI-driven CRM is going to work? Demen.
Embrace change. We've heard it in 7 Sins of AI yesterday. Embrace change, accept it. If not, someone else is going to disrupt it for you.
Estelle?
Probably more bring opportunities and efficiency in the way that it works so that they don't only see this as a technical migration, but also as something that brings value.
Excellent. Michael?
Embrace the mindset that what got us here will not get us there, I think.
Wonderful. And Helene?
Embrace that we actually can talk about what really we're here for, and that's for the patients, right? We have the time now, finally, to actually go out and visit to the HCPs and finding out what is really struggling for them to meet the unmet need.
Some fantastic insights. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the panel for packing so much into so little.